You know, everybody's been so focused on the possibility of a nuclear confrontation between North Korea and the United States that very few people have thought about what might happen if we returned to conventional fighting on the Korean Peninsula. There's actually a story today out of news.com.au that you can read for yourself. It takes a look at the issue because part of what we're dealing with here is a very similar situation as to what happened that led up to World War I. You've got all these different interests on different sides of the issue that have aligned themselves with each other. For instance, on the North Korean side, you've got China and Russia, not so much aligned politically like they used to be, but certainly aligned economically, because both of those countries receive quite a bit of coal. And you know, you think about what North Korea produces. I mean, that's basically what it comes down to, because they're a communist country that doesn't really produce much of anything, but they do have natural resources that ends up feeding the economy in China and in Russia. And some of the, basically the way they paint it is this, is that as the United States ratchets things up and as North Korea ratchets things up, somebody is going to make a mistake. Somebody's going to get hurt, and then the retaliation is going to really start. And they basically played it out like this. For instance, one side could be the North Koreans, could be the United States, in one of their provocative moves, moving troops, firing missiles, whatever, accidentally ends up killing people from the other side. So in retaliation, the other country then sinks a boat, which then in retaliation leads to the firing of another missile, which accidentally lands in, say, Russia, who then responds by firing their own missiles, and then one lands in China. And you see, before long, we've got all of these different factions fighting each other with conventional weapons once again. And, of course, there's always that possibility when we're dealing with nuclear powers that somebody's going to say, well, what exactly is the threshold for us just nuking them? And that's something that's worth asking, I think, no matter what. Because I heard some people talking about using nuclear weapons back in 2001. In fact, honestly, I might have been one of them. I was quite the hawk. I mean, back in my military service and even after for several years, where I honestly believed that it would be in the best interest of the country to assert ourselves militarily and to basically rule with an iron fist over the rest of the world. I have since changed my mind. I do believe that it's possible for people to change. I've seen it happen in myself. I don't think that it's a good idea for the United States, or for any other country for that matter, to exert itself and to force other countries into compliance. In the same way that I don't believe that it's right for one person to exert him or herself over another person. You see where I'm going with this? I've adopted a kind of a mentality of voluntarism, that if you and I are going to engage in any kind of interaction, it ought to be voluntary. For instance, this video. You don't have to watch it. You don't like what I'm saying? Stop watching. Turn it off. Look for something else. Maybe go and find Edwin Starr and listen to War. Whatever. The point is this. You don't like it. You don't have to listen to it. You don't have to come and force me to stop saying what you don't like hearing. You just don't have to listen. It's a voluntary interaction. And yet you have these people that are talking about war at every level. Possibly nuclear, which would then, of course, cause the entire world to burn up. Even a regular war could lead to a complete conflagration. And I just want to ask everybody to take a couple of steps back and ask yourself, would you want someone trying to force you to do something? Think about it. And if you'd like to engage me on the topic, send me an email, steve@radiofreespeech.com.